Hi everyone, my name is Jen. I am a national artist with Colors by Gina. I'm here today to show you a color class. We're calling it Expensive Chestnut. So we're going to be working with rich, warm brown tones, a little bit of copper tones, and I'm going to be showing you a multifaceted look with different shades we're going to be combining as a color melt. This is our model for the day. My client has sandy blonde natural hair. She's feeling a little bit flat and wants a lot more vibrancy to her color. So I will be using the Curated color line by Colors by Gina. We don't need to use any lightning dust because she's already light enough. Okay guys, I'm back. I'm here to show you the colors and the formulations I will be using in the Expensive Chestnut color class. I went to my cabinet though when I was out of the 5.35. What do you do in that case? You're able to mix 4.35 and 6.35 and get the median color, 5.35. Just a little tip for you guys. Also, I'll be using 6.45. This has a little bit more copper mahogany, while the 3.5 series has a little bit more of gold mahogany. I'm going to be using all of these colors and as a kaleidoscope in a multi-dimensional color melt. I will not be doing a root color. I will just be doing large slices and sectioning throughout the entire head, and this will create a multifaceted highlighted look with no foils. I want to share with you also that I will be using the 10 volume color producer. I'm going to be using this because she does not need any levels of lift. We're going to be doing deposit only. And also I'll be mixing the formulations 1 to 1.5 ratio. That's 1 part hair color to 1.5 parts color producer. My client is now sectioned into 3 partings. I go based off of their natural part. So she has 3 sections, 1 on each side. And then from the apex to the back of the head, I'm going to use it as 1 section. I'm going to be doing horizontal slicing up the back of the head, alternating 3 different colors. I'm also going to be doing a root tap on her entire halo, and what I call the halo is her entire face frame around the nape, behind the ear, to the neck. That's all going to be tapped with the 5.35. The reason why I'm going to do that is so that when she pulls her hair back, we don't see like little lines or discolorations. I want that to be more seamless. But as far as the roots go, where we're at the perpendicular to her part here, I will be doing almost like an old school deck of cards style of highlighting. When I say highlighting, I just meaning we're using multiple shades to create a highlighted multifaceted look and color blending. So it's not that I'll be using foils or lightener. I'll be using the shades to create different tones of highlights. I have pulled her sectioning up to reveal her face framing areas. Remember, like I said, we're going to be doing a root tap up to 5.35. We're going to be doing her entire halo up over the ears, down the side of the nape, and around the entire face. I'm doing this so that we have a more seamless application when it comes to blending all these colors together as a color melt. So I'm going to start in the back. And it's going to be a very light root tap, no more than 1 inch, because I don't want it to get too low and then I have less of my multifaceted colors showing. I'd like to leave it pretty much just a root tap. Now that I have her perimeter colored, I'm going to drop this back section down, and I'm going to clean up my front sectioning. This is going to be really neat during this color melt process. So now I'm going to start by taking about 3/4 to 1 inch sections. So we're kind of doing, I would call this a color melt along with color blocking, which we used to do, I would say, is more of an old school term, but I'm really liking the way it looks. When you add these 3 different shades together, it really just helps blend everything, and it's not just a boring solid 1 color. Your client comes in, you slap it on. This is going to be something that she can't get in another salon. You know, you want to create a reason for your clients to stay with you. So creating custom shades, custom formulations, and techniques and applications is going to give you, your clients, retention and them returning to either get the same result, or they're gonna say, because they trust you, they wanna ask you, like, give something different. So this is just locking in my clients not being able to go achieve this with a box dye or at another salon and going to another salon with my formula. This is something that I've created and it's unique to me, which makes me stand out to others. So you're gonna apply that from the roots to the ends. This is the 5.35. I always have a towel on hand because I will be doing a lot of changing colors, and I just like to work very neatly. Wipe your hands between. The next shade I'm going to use is the 6.45. Again, about 3/4 to a 1/8 section. Because this has a copper tone to the base, this has a purple oxidated hue for the hair color. So it's actually kind of nice. I can look at my bowls and know this is the copper one because it has that purple. So this is the 6.45, which is the copper mahogany base color. And I am coloring each root area differently. I'll be doing another 1-inch section. This last section will be the 6.35. We're working in a very close level range. I'm not doing an extreme difference. I want there to be almost no noticeable shift in color, only when you're looking at it in the light, maybe when your client flips her hair, that's when you'll see the color shift changes. But further away and to a client that maybe is indoors, it's going to look more like maybe one shade. But outdoors and or with movement, you'll see that different reflective tones in the hair. So I'm going to continue up the back of the head, alternating those 3 shades until I get to the apex. reached the top of her head in this back section. I want to show you how I'll be doing this one a little bit differently so it cascades as a highlight instead of a veil. I don't want it to veil over the back. I want this to look highlighted. But you can see how her natural hair is parting. I'm going to do a wide macro highlight. And I'm going to do some of the drop down a different shade, and then the highlights that I pick up will be a different shade. I'm taking more of like V's, like a zigzag. Deep V zigzag. And the color that I'm picking up is going to be the 6.45. This color that is dropped down is going to be the 5.35. I'm going to pull it taut and really try to melt that root together. It is okay if the colors touch because they will be blended by that zigzag. Just kind of use your brush and get in there and get those tops of the peaks of the V's. And then saturate through the ends. And if you notice, I touched a little something on the corner there. You could just repaint that area. Again, a color melt, you're not going to be able, and these shades are so close together, you're not going to be able to see imperfections. It's actually just going to create more of a kaleidoscope, if anything. I'm going to pull that even tighter and just try to get a little bit more of that hair in those V's. And then this area is going to be the 6.45. I'll do the back side first using the side of my brush to paint into those pockets. And then I will hold it out and away from the scalp with tension. Ask your client to give you resistance, and I will paint the surface. That's going to help avoid me touching those other colors that I had done on the drop down, this 5.35. This is going to help just lay this 6.45 right on the surface. And then once you get your root area to where you're happy with it, pull it through the ends. I'm now going to create a section on the top of the head. It's going to be based off of their part. You want some from each side so that when this lays down, you will be able to see highlights, because we're going to be creating this direction, horizontal application of color. Then when it lays down, you will see those shades working towards the face. So make a nice section based on their part, so you'll have some on each side. So since she parts kind of deep to one side, you need to take that consideration when you're making your parting here. And this, since we ended on the 6.45, this next section is going to be the 6.35. I'm just going to continue to alternate the shades. Just where that hair happens to land on the top of the apex pick, just where that hair happens to land on the top of that apex is why I did this zigzag parting Now we're going to resume slices, a little bit skinnier down the back, about 1/2 inch. This is where you definitely want to be careful with applying and use more upward direction so that you don't transfer those colors to the other underlying section we did. Use your hand behind it to protect as you are pushing that color through the hair. Continue with 1/2 inch sections. And these do not need to be perfectly straight, every little hair in place. Again, any small variations is actually going to just help with your blend. Moving back to the 5.35, again keeping the hair nice and taut in an upward fashion as you're applying this. Then when you're ready, place your hand underneath and push that product through. I see a little section here that I feel like needs to be added to that, so I'm just gonna paint that and add to it. I'm going to continue to the front hairline. When I get to the face frame area, I will explain to you how that will be sectioned a little bit differently. I'm going to do a skinnier slice, about 1/4 inch thick, and that's going to be the 6.45. Then I'm going to leave the face frame, this bang area, out as her last shade, which is going to be 6.35. I don't want the really coppery color against the face, so that's why I'm lining it up so that the 6.45 is right behind the face frame. I'm also continuing in the front, pulling a little bit of this face frame from the other side too, just for ease of knowing my placement and making sure that this is all cohesively that 6.35. So I'm going to pull this aside and color this behind it first. Now for the last section on her entire face frame right here, it's going to be 6.35. I'm now going to be starting on the side of the head with this little section that's left on each side above the ear. I'm going to be doing the same thing I did at the nape, which was the 5.35, which we did on the halo. I'm going to take this first section diagonal back, and I'm going to color that, the 5.35. We're going to be working in a diagonal back section until we meet the other hair that's already colored. And this top section will just be a sliver of a triangle at that point. So first up is the 5.35. That's on the roots. We're going to pull that through the ends. The next color is 6.45, diagonal back, about a 1/2 inch section. Tap the root, pull it through the ends. The sides will go much faster because we've already covered so much of this area on top with those highlights that we did, that deck of cards style. And this next section is going to be 6.35. Everything is diagonal back, and your sections are going to start getting smaller and smaller here. Since we've done 3 sections, now we're back on that original formula, 5.35. We're going to keep applying until those colors meet. And you're going to repeat this process on the other side of the head. You're going to process for 35 minutes, rinse and style as desired. Okay guys, I'm back and I have my client rinsed and dried and styled. Today I chose to do something a little different. I usually curl my client's hair, but I wanted you to see what it looks like smooth, no lines of demarcation, how seamlessly these colors blend, and what the final look is when it's just straight, because not everybody has time to put a curl in their hair, and most clients, I would say, actually wear their hair in a natural state or smooth. So this is the final look for the expensive chestnut. You can see the kaleidoscope of colors in her hair, seamless, no lines, all blended. Coppery tones, warm brown tones. Here's the different angles so you can see all those shades just melted together seamlessly. Go ahead and try this technique or these formulations on your own clients. Tag Colors by Gina, and don't forget to post your work. Look forward to seeing you soon. I'll be hosting another class in a few months. Until then, see you next time.